Already welcome to another reaction. We are back again with the reactions. I did not do the one that I said last time I was going to promise to do. That one probably come out like maybe like several reactions of this one, maybe the next one. I don't know when that one will come out, but I think that will be a reaction that I will do. I haven't done it yet, but I will do it some point soon. So we are back with another reaction. We have got the tornadoes of 2025, extreme close calls and destruction. Now I have personally tracked most of these events myself. I do track a lot of weather because I do research and study into it more as a enthusiasm rather than my actual study. But it technically is another study that I do. So I have tracked all of these events pretty much. So let's see. I mean, I've forgotten some of these. I definitely probably have, and there's just a lot of just different moments, and just enjoy it. You know, I mean, like, yeah, a lot of people do these types of reactions. I've been fascinated by them. I'll probably do a reaction on their reaction, especially like ones that I feel like would be quite interesting. Ones maybe I haven't seen in a long time, because a lot of them I tend to have a natural tendency to watch just curiosity, and like maybe you've watched them some of the time in the past, but the really old ones that I may have forgotten of, there definitely are going to be some that I've forgotten of that are worth reacting to. So I will see if I can react to those as well. And I really enjoyed the first reaction I did. I think for some reason I haven't uploaded it yet. It's been like a few days since I recorded that one, but that reaction should be coming out today. Maybe I really do hope it comes up today. But I really enjoyed that first reaction that I started doing. So without further ado, let's go into the new reaction.
From the first EF5 tornado in over 12 years, and a Chilean man who watched a rare twister level his town, to a devastating tornado that tore through St. Louis, and locals in northeastern Arkansas who barely escaped this deadly storm. Here are our picks for some of the craziest tornadoes.
You know what? Shout out to Underworld as well, by the way. Like, this man, I've watched him for like very long time, like for years, and this guy is consistent with his yearly uploads of tornadoes and just general tornado videos. I enjoy when he puts out this content. Also, other people get to react to it. Other people who are not familiar to these sorts of events react to it, and it's really good to see like how they react to it, or maybe just like, increase the awareness of like other people like seeing all this stuff, and yeah, just show what the two had like last year had.
2025.
Shout out to him, 2 million subscribers now.
Monette, Arkansas is a small city of 1,500 people in Craighead County. Nestled on the eastern outskirts of Tornado Alley, USA, Monette used to consider itself safe from powerful twisters. But that might be changing, and soon. According to new studies, the old Tornado Alley is slowly moving into the southeastern United States.
It's not really related to the video as much, but you can see right now, he's using stock footage for different tornado events while describing it. He's using stock footage, yeah, I mean, like between, like, just as an interval. It's quite interesting. Like, I used to, when I made like videos, to kind of fill in like the conversation what you're making, kind of have to put these stock videos. But this is actually really good stock video footage, because you don't really get like this sort of stock footage like that easily. Can't get hands on this sort of stuff unless you get AI. By the way, there's a lot of AI channels that do like starting to copy actual tornado. People who make tornado documentaries, or any of them, like Tornado TRX, Kelton Henderson, Ethan Moriarty. Any of them, they make really good documentaries. Unfortunately, there's AI that's been taking over a lot of these documentaries, and people have been reacting to them and supporting them without realizing. Like, there's a guy, I'll just name drop anyways, probably a channel here, that this guy does AI as well, which is not a good thing. Just dislike the video, just don't like promote those channels, probably report them for spam or like, you know, AI, whatever. Yeah, those people are not the ones to support the actual creators that actually do the effort, because the AI often actually takes the original footage and modifies it. So yeah,
putting states like Arkansas, Missouri, and Louisiana in the crosshairs. On April 2nd of 2025, one of those new arrival tornadoes touched down west of Monette near Shoal Creek. The powerful EF3 tracked a 22-mile path of destruction through the area, with wind speeds peaking at 165 miles per hour. These locals couldn't believe their eyes as the twister touched down ahead of them and slowly grew to nearly 200 yards wide.
This is when it just formed as well. Lake City, Arkansas, named Monette. I completely forgot the whole gen stage of this, how it began so small as a narrow stovepipe, basically rope tornado, and it became a really significant tornado. So yeah, it's quite interesting how it's changed its dynamic. You can see it's growing in size like in real time, quite effectively. You can use the tree line reference. It's coming closer, so there's obviously some relative. You've got to keep relative. It's but you can see it's growing in mass
Oh
quite
my
quickly.
goodness. Y'all, it's coming. There he is.
For a Dixie-esque, Ozark-esque tornado, this is very visible, very impressive. A very like high-end sort of footage, comparable to Valonia. Probably even better. I'm definitely better. I do think it's better, especially some other footage of it. But this is really good amateur footage.
It's coming this
It's
way.
impressive. You do not see like that sort of footage. Daytime footage, by the way.
This event was the strongest of 23 storms that touched down during the record-breaking tornado outbreak between April 2nd and April 7th. Aside from
That's
powerful
the whole
winds
outbreak
and
sequence,
relentless
though, I
rain, areas across the southern and
April 2nd and
midwestern
3rd is the
U.S.
actual
also
outbreak,
experienced life-threatening flash floods. Back in Monette, debris from homes and businesses covered the
It's
landscape.
incredible.
Trees
like,
were
the
uprooted.
debris, like obviously you got to respect the people who got damaged and everything. You don't want to. How do I say this? Like you can't be so disrespectful and not concerned about the impact of the people, obviously. But you got to take a meteorological or damage forensics perspective and understand it's like as if you're a survey sometimes. And there's also another person, well, who I won't name, who like unfortunately people used to respect him, but he's obviously done like there's leaked photos of him basically, including damages from a certain event, and people are obviously now putting a lot of shame on him for that. So yeah, but you can just see the damage. Like if I go back like 5 seconds here, you can see the way the main frame of the building. You've got this front, basically the porch side left. You've got a lot of the you basically got like these 2x4 wood. Now that the wood, obviously, people say it's a sort of weak structure. That's the reason why they're DI'd around this area or around EF2 to EF3. But you can still see that the structure of this is a brick frame with reinforcement. This one, and you can see the way the debris on one side has been loaded entirely and collapsed, and the other side has not. So there's just been like this pressure gradient and wind pushing across, probably like a door garage breaking through, and the entire house basically collapsed on the tornado, the strongest side, and the farthest side remained standing up. Like it's really interesting to just see how some of these like I don't really remember like looking at this damage or the event, so it's fascinating to see it now and the way the dynamics were during the event. Like if you try to simulate it in your head of what happened and looking at it now, it's quite remarkable.
Debris from homes and businesses covered the landscape. Trees were uprooted, cars were flipped over, and roofs were torn clean off their homes. 8 people were injured, but thankfully there were no reported fatalities. The April storm felt like a sick joke to some who had only just recovered from a similar event that occurred in December of 2021, when a powerful EF4 tore through town.
It's infamous, that one. I'm on it, Arkansas EF4.
It was May 5th of 2025. A flock of sheep on the outskirts of Baotou, China, was going about their business when a storm appeared on the horizon. That's when one of them hit the panic button, thus putting their foolproof disaster plan in place. Huddle up and hope for the best.
This is unfortunately where like that sheep mentality mindset comes in. It's sheep. I mean, you got one individual which then causes a mass effect for all the others, and they're all responding the same way. They all got that. Causing a lot of cramping. Yeah, that could have caused a lot of injuries. But the sheep actually was smart about the fact that they responded in this way. I'm glad the sheep are okay.
Thankfully, the farmer didn't have to count any flying sheep that night. He said his flock had grown accustomed to rough weather on the open grasslands and will huddle like this whenever conditions turn. While no sheep were...
One thing that must frustrate me with like these sort of scenarios is, particularly in the US, is in the US specifically, this shouldn't even be a hot take. You got lead times in tornado warnings, right? But you have these instances where horses unfortunately die from these tragic events, and I think that there should be an event and a scenario where the animal should not be trapped in a scenario where you've left for your own shelter, but now you've left the animal there behind, and now it gets impacted and it doesn't survive. there's obviously a complex circle in this. How do you deal with this dynamic? But the animals should like essentially. I don't think, like we often talk about ethical ways, and the dynamic here is this ethical? Like, if you are like this, if you're the individual in that situation who's taking shelter, what are the ethics of this with the animal left behind? That's just something to consider in your head as a practicality. It's got nothing to do with the person who's issuing the warning. They're doing their job, everything. It's the individual who's behind. Like, I mean, we're not trying to like make them seem like the bad person necessarily, but you got to think about it in a logical perspective about the unfortunate situations, because this is manageable. This is you can mitigate this sort of impact with these horses that get impacted during like these events. You get a 5-minute lead time. You've got your horses. You've made a 1-minute plan action already. You're in the warning. You now have this potential scenario with your animals that could get impacted. What do you do? Because a lot of people with their dogs and everything obviously have a responsible plan to go to the basement. And so one of the things I thought a long time ago was the idea of animal basements, but for farm animals. There's just some sort of idea that I had formulated there that kind of holds well still to this day, that I think is maybe perhaps a smart idea. Like, it's not, people can talk about too much because they don't really talk about this sort of stuff. In fact, like recently, this year alone, like within like about 3 days ago, the Survey weather sequence, the first significant tornado of the year globally in Greece was an IF2. There's also one in Turkey. I think the one in Turkey is the one. Yeah, the IF2 in Turkey is the one that caused about 40,000 chicken fatalities because of this barn being impacted. So again, the practicalities, the barn situations are obviously unfortunate in themselves, but the chickens essentially not being able, like, these sort of yield chicken, they're because they're being like obviously used for like the food and everything, but the way that they're not actually able to, I mean, like they're not able to run away anyways because they're not in this sort of high yield condition. That I mean, there's a whole other thing, but basically, a lot of impact right there.
Harmed that day, the twister did do a number on the pen and surrounding structures. Roughly 1,200 tornadoes touch down in the U.S. every year, mostly in the spring and summer months, when weather over the central U.S. combines to create the perfect storm conditions. The dangerous part about Tornado Alley shifting east is that it's getting closer to major metro areas like Little Rock, Memphis, and Nashville. On May 16th of 2025, parts of St. Louis, Missouri changed forever when a powerful EF3 twister touched down in Clayton, roughly 10 miles outside the downtown area. These CCTV cameras captured the storm as it passed by a crowded parking lot.
Isn't there a guy in this car? Bonnet's getting lifted on that one car. Audio barriers breaking. Getting a lot of chopped audio. Pressure gradient really kicking right there. There's a lot of debris impacts. It's impacting the city, so there's a lot of debris loading going on there. Yeah, I mean a lot of tearing apart of audio. Sound barriers being breached. Also just the sound signal, it's like an electromagnet, so it's not able to receive the sound. It's kind of an old car that you want in the middle of. Yeah, that's the guy, look.
You saw that right. A man had been trapped in his car the entire time.
It's just insane.
Thankfully, he escaped unharmed and found shelter before things picked up again. Meanwhile, another couple found themselves in the same situation. Only this time, they were stuck on the road with nowhere to run.
Far enough.
Oh my god.
My car!
I know. Get in the back of that car so you don't get hit.
I can't, babe. It's...
From
Holy sh...
that's there's definitely a tornado.
Oh my god, just stay calm, babe. Just stay calm.
This is the outer, that was the outer circulation for sure.
We're literally in a tornado right now.
The National Weather Service in St. Louis has issued a tornado warning for southern Madison County in southwestern Illinois, northern St. Clair County.
I think the tornado's about to come now. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so the tornado's coming now because you can see the way the tree line is basically being pulled, it's yanked. Yeah, and now the other one's falling.
According to the woman,
Uncondensed.
her boyfriend had just picked her up from work when they got stuck in the storm. It came out of nowhere and only lasted a few harrowing minutes. While flying debris nearly totaled her car, she and her boyfriend were luckily able to escape unharmed. The storm tracked a 23-mile path through the city, reaching its peak intensity as a mid-range EF3 as it passed through the Greaterville neighborhood. Several brick houses, buildings, and old churches were destroyed, leaving several people trapped inside until it was over. That's when local police officers and other first responders jumped into action.
Trapped in the house? Ma'am! Ma'am, it's the police! We're coming in the house, please!
Hear him
St.
in the
Louis.
basement and there's an active gas leak. Can you
In a
see my
second.
light? Okay, so he's more over.
I need you to put a blanket over this window. Yep.
Too far, too far.
Here we go.
2525. I know you got a lot going on. Myself from 26.
We're both gonna grab.
No, the window barred up on the side.
Everything's fired up. We just need to pass the stuff back.
Hey, don't panic. Keep talking.
Alright, I can see the roof's collapsed up there.
The most important.
We could do like a conveyor belt. Like you hand it back to him, he hands it
It
to me.
really is scary when you have city impact tornadoes like this. I think this caused about $2 billion dollars in damage, and it caused about 5 fatalities. So, yeah, in the event of it, a lot of people thought it was. I mean, it on radar it seemed like a significant tornado went through St. Louis, which we have not seen in quite some time. We obviously think back to the 2011 EF4 event, but yeah, I mean, this one went really quite urban rather than suburban as well. So there was quite a lot of impact, especially you can also tell by the floors of the new buildings, the new construction quality was not up to par because none of them were really tornado designed, which kind of is one of the leading issues with these sort of newer constructions, that they undercut in their design, flawed in the tornado resilience, because the structure's capacity to withstand wind loading, pressure dynamics, and essentially Bernoulli's principle, which is just going to be related to the wind and pressure dynamics, as I've just mentioned. So you've got this resultant product where the building itself basically folds in on itself, like it roof falling people, and that causes a lot of issues. You had this with the infamous Mayfield scenario, where you had about 20 workers trapped, and unfortunately, like 3 of them didn't survive in the town of Mayfield, around the central east part of the not the building, but of Mayfield, where that building was located. I think it was around there, but yeah, it's just not a great scenario when you have these sort of dynamics. But the probability of these events is quite low, especially considering the spatial expanse of a city versus rural countryside. And a lot of people do think that city tornadoes don't actually occur, but they definitely do occur. City tornadoes are a real thing. Yeah.
I hand it to you.
522, show me en route to Barnes, transporting an elderly woman with oxygen issues. I'll be headed to Barnes now. Alright, you hang on, okay? Please be clear.
The St. Louis storm claimed the lives of 5 people while injuring dozens of others. It damaged over 5,000 homes and caused a whopping $1.6 billion in losses. And as Tornado Alley continues shifting east, there's a good chance that things will only get worse.
I think what do you say about Tornado Alley?
There's a good chance that things will only get worse. Whopping $1.6 billion in losses. And as Tornado Alley continues shifting east, there's
yeah, this is one of the things. People say Tornado Alley is moving east. I mean, it's not. It's basically a take. It's not really true. Tornado Alley is not moving. I mean, you can kind of argue that it is, but you can't also argue it because Tornado Alley is essentially a geographic area where these conditions become favorable. So by saying the geography is shifting doesn't really make sense. But by saying the parameter spaces are moving east, it's understandable because you got these sort of Great Plains sort of outbreaks that are moving and shifting eastwards and causing these sorts of events. But again, climatologically, and using history analogs, you've had many events before the current state where you say the increased probability of this will happen. Like in St. Louis, you've had tornadoes as well before. I think it's I'm forgetting, it's 1896 F5 St. Louis, 2011 St. Louis. You've got quite a lot of other events, but you've got impacts that have occurred previously. You have, I mean, I don't really say Hoosie Alley because it just, I don't know, just call it Dixie Alley or just, turning an outbreak sequence that occurs in XYZ in the Midwest or upper Midwest. So you've got the Great Plains, you've got its spring tornado season, fall tornado season, but you've got Dixie outbreaks that occurs in Dixie Alley. So those have their own dynamics and it's not really a shift. I think I used to argue that it was a shift, but I don't think it is. I think that, I mean, again, this shift, this sort of idea, this take might change. Like I've said one side about the geography, but then the parameter space, you've got these plains sort of outbreak sort of situations that are moving eastwards, and you get quite a high spike in these events that you've had, like for example, since the early 2000s, you've got these sort of quite persistent events that seem to behave like the plains out east, or you've got these sorts of similar impact events where with strong tornadoes, hail, the evolution of the event, basically, it's like recognizing the pattern that is happening in this area, but also that pattern's already sort of been there, and you're just kind of saying that it's adapted to that place. So it is quite interesting, but I don't think, when I'm thinking about it now, I don't think Tornado Alley is moving east. I think I think one thing that's best to rephrase is there's a definitely increased likelihood of these sort of severe events occurring within this corridor, not Tornado Alley itself moving east. I think that should be a separate point or just a separate concept, because it's not. That's a better way to phrase it rather than straight up saying Tornado Alley is moving east.
But
I get his point.
That
like
things
other people who don't
only
understand
get
this,
worse.
I think it's a good way to explain it to them. That, Tornado Alley is moving east. I guess they
Now,
kind
you
of
don't
get the
typically
idea.
see the words Chilean and tornado in the same sentence. That's because
The
Chile's
infamous
unique
EF1
geography
Tornado
prevents
Chile.
the
I remember
atmospheric
watching this. I was like
conditions
so confused.
necessary for a twister to
Look how
form.
far south
But
it is.
just
In the
because they
Andes
aren't
Mountains
tornado
snowcap.
prone
This is
doesn't mean
remarkable.
they're
That
tornado
is even occurred.
proof. On May 25th of 2025, a rare tornado touched down in the city of Puerto Varas in southern Chile. Despite
winter.
only being an EF1 twister, the storm still caused significant damage and panic. Imagine going your whole life unbothered by tornadoes. only
Very
to
rare,
see this thing
like
coming
actually
over
by
the horizon.
percentile sort of measures, which is tornado events, severe events, but particularly tornado events, very rare. So this is a very rare video what you're watching right now. Of this, I mean, it's quite remarkable. Like now looking at it right now, I'm also like baffled that this actually happened like during that part. You don't see this like very often at all. And the impact's quite clear because you've got a lot of debris from sheet metal being lofted up. These buildings are not made for surviving tornadoes because you don't get them. It's uncondensed bowl tornado. You get a lot of these sort of events actually in
Before he knew
California.
it, the storm was right on top of his neighborhood. The man wisely shut his window
They say
as
a lot,
debris
but you
flew
get
over his home,
more than
and pieces
here,
of his roof
comparatively.
rattled in the wind.
So we got to put perspective in.
Passou.
Y voló el techo de mi vecino. Sí, señor. Pasó. Me salvé.
I'm not a perfect translator, but I do generally get the understanding of what he's saying in Spanish.
A few minutes on the ground was all it took for this storm to damage over 250 homes. Power lines were destroyed, trees were uprooted, and thousands of people were left without electricity. 19 people were injured, with some in worse shape than others. Recent studies have found that when tornadoes form in Chile, they typically occur in the autumn months of May and June. They were virtually non-existent until the tornado outbreak of 2019 and have since become more common, likely due to changing weather patterns and better reporting.
Hey, what is going on?
Morton, Texas is a small city in Cochran County, roughly 56 miles west of Lubbock and 17 miles east of New Mexico. It's home to roughly 1,700 people who, unlike Chile, live in one of the most tornado-prone places on Earth. And as the saying goes, everything's bigger in Texas, even the tornadoes. On June 5th, 2025, a massive wedge tornado touched down outside of Morton. At over a mile wide, the EF2 twister could have easily swallowed the tiny square-shaped city. This storm chaser knew it'd be worth the risk when he drove out to record the beast as it moved
before the survey actually came out, people it was popular in the concept that it is 2 miles wide, but you tell by the footage that it's not 2 miles wide. It was 1 mile wide, and I knew that it was 1 mile wide, and I was just a bit confused. But yeah, I mean, this is crazy footage right now. You got the hail coming in from the backside, basically rear flank. You've got this sort of horizontal hail that's coming through. Your windscreen is getting bashed. That windshield is getting cracked up. Like some of this obviously getting focused from above as well. You've got like you don't have quite the rear flank at this point. You've got the flank, so you've got some hail that's kind of coming from above. Ones that are hitting your car from the top. So you're alright in some situations, but there were some pretty brutal scenes from some impacts on some of the car windows. Where one person had to use friends to like fix his window with using tape.
Man, can't even see it.
I think.
Thankfully, this storm remained over rural land, only damaging a few trees and power lines along its path. It was part of a larger supercell system that impacted parts of eastern New Mexico and West Texas. It wasn't the only tornado either, as 7 others touched down, including another large wedge north of Morton. Once the final tornado passed, swaths of powerful outflow winds swept across the region, bringing with them hailstones the size of golf balls. Survey teams found several damaged roofs and shattered windows in its wake, proving that the wind isn't the
bird fart tornadoes basically is ones that really basically last like 2 seconds. You've got a lot of not like gust tornadoes, like actual like bird fart tornadoes, because they do actually have this. They don't form on basically the like forward flank gust front. So you have sort of these other tornadoes that get undocumented. So I kind of feel like there's more than 6, but
only thing one has to worry about when a tornado comes to town. Before 2025, the last EF5 twister to touch down in the United States was a 2013 storm in Moore, Oklahoma. Since then, we've been in what the media came to call the EF5 drought or EF5 gap, which isn't a bad problem to have. Then, everything changed on the night of June 20th, 2025, when the first EF5 tornado in over a decade touched down near Enderlin, North Dakota. The story begins 5 days earlier, when the Storm Prediction Center observed an ominous system moving into the upper Mississippi River Valley. Large hailstones began falling around 8 p.m. on the 20th, and the likelihood of strong tornadoes was at an all-time high. That's when an EF3 near Spiritwood touched down shortly before sunset, kicking off one of the wildest weather events in North Dakota history.
I mean, so it was hard to, like, in the event of it, when I was tracking it, and really for anyone. It was hard to fathom that this happened in North Dakota, and North Dakota broke the event. On about like I think it's so
yeah. I better get ready. Hey, stay safe yourself, guys.
68.
Woo, look at that rascal.
No, 68.
Hopefully it won't take a left hook. Left-handed hook.
Oh, it is 68. Years exactly after the Fargo F5, which occurred in almost the exact same place in North Dakota. Occurred the same day. It's really hard to fathom the rarity of that.
The tornado.
Let alone this event.
No, it's just the one tornado.
And shout out to NWS Grand Forks for their incredible detail in the survey, because you don't get lots of like the way that they did to produce this analysis. It's actually incredible. If you've not seen it, you should check it out. If you want me to like send a link for you to see it or
The
something,
storm grew nearly
let me know.
1,000 yards wide, with wind speeds peaking around 155 miles per hour. Damage-wise, it destroyed several buildings and tore the second floor clean off a farmstead. At least 3 vehicles were lofted into the air and shredded like paper. Their remnants were later discovered roughly a quarter-mile away. The Spiritwood tornado only served as a dire warning of things to come. 3 hours later, as the sun set and lightning lit up the sky over Enderlin, the 13-year
This structure was remarkable. This is like one of the most insane
drought
structures I think you will ever really see. This is Kelton. This is Kelton himself.
Thanks to nature's flashlight, we can see the monster tornado as it moves left to right across the screen. The tornado tracked a 12-mile path of destruction as it worked its way north through Ransom County. The storm itself grew to be over a mile wide, with wind speeds peaking at over 210 miles per hour. Satellite imaging shows the storm's path as it curved around the city. Think of that light green line on the ground as a massive scar, as the storm literally bored into the earth as it moved. You can tell where it gathered a bulk of its strength east of Enderlin and south of the Geske airfield. At first, surveyors classified the storm as a high-end EF3 twister. Then, the National Weather Service discovered a train that had been blown clean off the tracks in Ransom County.
I do appreciate these
33 cars had been thrown about, with one landing nearly 500 feet away. The wind strength required to move such an object meant one thing. This was no EF3 storm. It was a bona fide EF5, the first of its kind in over a decade. The storm ultimately missed the city of Underworld, with most of the damage concentrated on trees, power lines, and farmsteads on the outskirts. According to reports, one farm was ripped off its foundation, leaving only the basement behind. Sadly, the EF5 claimed the lives of 3 elderly locals, making it the strongest and deadliest storm in North Dakota in almost 50 years. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more,
he's put a low pressure system. It's not even
like it.
It's supposed to be spinning clockwise and cyclonically, northern hemisphere, so anti-clockwise, but it's kind of weird looking spin. All right, well, I think that will be the end of this video. I mean, it's quite a long reaction actually, but I think that was really good description and a video. That way he talked about all the stuff and just displaying all the events of 2025 with severe weather and tornadic weather. And obviously you got to stay safe for those people who are going to be there like during spring tornado season, and watch for the alerts and warnings. It can be dangerous out there. So yeah, I mean, it's fascinating just generally. I want to answer people's questions. If the people have questions or anything in the comments, I really do want to answer them if there are any. And yeah, generally a really good video. I do actually really, genuinely do enjoy seeing Underworld coming back and producing this with 2025 summary, which I watched the 2024 and the 2023 and all the previous ones. So I'll see you guys in the next couple of next reaction again. I don't know which one it will be, but I'll see you then.